God, why are we tempted? I heard once that temptation is anything that promises satisfaction at the cost of your obedience to God. Like when I chose to bring a girl into my bedroom at the ripe age of 14, proof of teenage rebellion, or so it would seem. Could it have been more? Could there have been some other power influencing my life in a way I never noticed before? What was this thing taking hold of me, turning me into its servant, slithering its nasty lies into my mind like a cruel serpent? Like the serpent that convinced Eve to take that apple from the tree, I felt the devil convince me to feed a more cardinal need. The desire of a woman, the longing to be the hero in her story. I had no idea the glory I was foregoing. Now this might not make sense to you, but keep in mind, I'm a bit of a nerd. In order for me to tell you my story, I'll need you to imagine yourself in my world. You see, to me, God is like Batman.
Come on, Batman.
The Dark Knight. The hero looking over the world, but just out of sight. And he was calling me to be his ward. His awesome sidekick, Robin. Wait, Robin? Who wants to be Robin? The dude with the green shorts and lame gadgets, that Robin? But God was trying to put me on a path that most had forgotten. You see, Batman doesn't train Robin because he feels sorry for him. He trains him to carry on. To carry on the mission he no longer can. Because when Robin grows up, who does he become? The hero Nightwing. A hero in his own right. His calling in my life is becoming enticing. Forgive me for a nerdy segue. Bear with me, and I promise we'll make some headway in this debate about temptation in a big way. I go back to my original query. Why are we tempted? The Apostle Paul had an interesting theory. In his letter to the Romans, Paul makes this point. The law started out as an excellent piece of work. What happened, though, was that sin found a way to pervert the command into a temptation, turning it into a piece of forbidden fruit. The law that was supposed to guide me was used to seduce me. Without all the paraphernalia of the law, sin was pretty dull and lifeless, and I went along without paying much attention to it. Once sin got its hands on the law and decked itself out in all that finery, I was fooled and fell for it. The very command that was supposed to guide me to life was cleverly used to trip me up, throwing me headlong. So sin was plenty alive, and I was stone dead. Paul presents an interesting hypothesis. God's law being present in your life causes the devil too much strife. So in order to retaliate, he puts a plan in place to humiliate a child of God so they no longer feel worthy to affiliate themselves with the kingdom that plucked them from obscurity to rid them of impurity and send them on a path towards maturity. Like me.
Come on!
Spending my teenage years obsessed with getting girls. Meanwhile, God was putting leaders in my life giving me wisdom made of pearls. But when I got to college and spent my days staring at images on the screen that were so obscene I would never stay focused long enough to be on a list made by the dean. Or how about when I met my wife? Joined hands at the aisle at 25, failing to keep my eyes in their sockets, fixated on these dirty composites that I glance at from the world in my pocket, each one a rocket to my wife's heart. So how do I grow? How do I overcome this demon temptation and pursue a path I feared may never come? Paul had some ideas on this as well. In his letter to that ancient Vegas, he points out victory to this demon that plagues us. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to man. God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will provide a way out so that you can endure. Find a friend, a real friend, and tell them what ails you. Give them access to your world and the permission to speak truth. God created us to be in community. His death on the cross is proof of this, awarding us impunity. You see, temptation isn't a demon at all. It's just the snake, whispering lies into your minds that you change your fate. But if the life of Christ teaches us anything, it's this. God bless those who endure patiently the testing of temptation. Afterward, they are awarded the crown of life. which God gives to those who love him. And remember, when you are being tempted, do not say, God is tempting me. God is never tempted to do wrong, and he never tempts anyone else. Temptation comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. And when those desires give birth to sinful actions, and when sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. Keep living, y'all. Thank you.